He says, I have sold a lot. Gaming consoles and tablet screens are very popular, as well as cosmetics and perfumes. Seeing them sold in this way makes me feel great. But as I thought, the best-selling thing is these camping batteries. You go to the store and the staff greets you and Hassan says to the staff, what about those batteries? He tells him that the camping batteries have been fully charged. He says to him, this is good. Excuse me, please. The hero of the story says to the employees, you will be able to provide the same number of batteries next time as well. They must all be fully charged. Also, the employee says, of course, dear customer, rely on us. And because of using your points, we have given you a discount. If you ever need any devices, please contact us at any time. The hero of the story says, okay, thank you. He goes to the hotel where he is staying. He opens the status window and says, I will use everything I have, my guy. It's only about 3 billion. He looks at the sales from the crow and says that raw medicine costs an average of only 5 million. If I want all my stats to be 200, I will need about 5 billion points. He takes medicine and says that since increasing stats affects all skills, the effect will be noticeable. With another 5 billion points, I will spend it on the Book of Immortality. Notice from the system, the Book of Immortality is a rare, unique rank. The Book of Passive Skills is not used for mana. You will not die as long as your head is not completely destroyed. As long as you are not killed. All. He tries out the regeneration skills of the bat sword on his finger. He says he doesn't regenerate slowly anymore. He gets a call from Shin Yuna. She says, hi, Som, it's me, Shin Yuna. Yes. Did something happen? She tells him that I showed the evidence of the executives of the CO Wu Guild to the police that we got back then. They were imprisoned today. Our hero says that's good. I was worried about whether or not I would have to deal with their plans again. Shin says the CO Wu Guild has a lot of favoritism with the police, but they haven't made any move this time yet. Instead, they've been actively helping with the investigation. The hero says, is it because of the conflict between the factions? She answers, yes. The guildmaster, Magahan, did not even try to interfere in the investigation. Instead, he provided us with all the internal evidence so that we could take it faster. He asks her what happened to Young Sung Woo. She responds, they issued a warrant for his arrest, but he did not last long. When Jang Woo Hyan was arrested, his actions in murder and robbery were revealed. The one who was hired to do this was close to Young Sung Woo. Can you turn on the TV? Now, he turns on the TV. The news they say is almost true, isn't it? Yes. They are not confessing. But because the evidence is so clear, it is only a matter of time. The top executives of the Assassins Guild, the deputy director of the guild, Young Sung Woo, has been expelled from his current guild. The hero of the story says to himself, if they are going to announce the real names, why impose censorship on the name of the union? The news is that he is currently being pursued by the police and the Players Association. Shin says, as you can see, it will be difficult for him to escape from prison. All the people who were supportive of Young Sung Woo have turned their backs on him as well. He says, I don't blame them. Thank you for dealing with this once and for all. She tells him this is nothing. Instead, I'm sorry I couldn't handle this earlier. He says, I will buy you dinner as a token of our nation. I will contact you later. Turn off the phone and it says, right, I need to look for some skill books. After some time, it just says, when will you change it? This is the last one. I have exhausted all the contract registration bonuses and consumed the skill book. But after consuming all of these, notice from the system you have failed to learn the Book of Passive Skills. Purified Nature Power. The Book of Passive Skills that do not use mana. The Book of Immortality has been upgraded to Extraordinary Rare Level. Book of Unused Mana Passive Skills. The Book of Immortality has been upgraded from Extraordinary Rare Level to Heroic Level. He shouts with joy and says, I have finally received it. System Book of Immortality. Heroic Rank Book of Passive Skills. Not using mana. You will not die unless your heart and head are destroyed simultaneously. As long as you are not killed, all wounds will regenerate. Upgrade type skill. He says her effectiveness has increased, and she can advance further. But if it takes this long to reach heroic rank, just how much will it take to reach legendary rank? Then to bed. He says I should get some rest first, because tomorrow will be my first patrol with the emergency room. The hero of the story goes to the guild in the morning and says, "Is this the place? I feel a little nervous." Some players greet him and say to him, "Are you the new player? Were you appointed today?" He says, "Yes, this is the first time for me." We say to one of the existing players, "I have asked for new appointments many times. It seems that they have already sent me one." "Welcome, CEO." Tae Keel says, "I'm Chun Hyan Sung." They shake each other's hands. They then go to an adjacent room and talk to each other. 7th Barrack. CEO says, "You can stay here, where you'll be prepared if anything happens. If you are assigned to any dungeons whose level is less than 100, you can go with So Young. Lee Soo Young will turn 25 this year. She is close to you in level as well." He says to her, "Look forward to working with you." She replies, "Yes, exactly." CEO tells her, "Soo Young, you should introduce yourself better. Why have you been rude to begin with?" Soo says, "He seems to be younger than me, so I think I'm speaking normally. Am I upset? If I am upset, I will apologize." The hero of the story says to himself, "Do I not like her?" Suwoo says, "I am sorry. She is not the best at speaking." The hero says to himself, "It seems that something is happening." He says, "It's okay, but just so you know, I'm not younger than you, Miss Sue, or I'm older than you. I'll be 27 this year." He decides to apologize to him. She goes after that, and she's upset. CEO tells him that right now, when you get an emergency call, you can go with him. "I wanted someone else to accompany you, but she's the only one in charge of dungeons that have a level below 100, he says. "I don't mind." He says to himself, "If I am assigned to fights that are less than 100, because my total stats are higher than 200, I should be fine, even if I am alone." He tells him, "This is your area. You can take a nap, read books, or do anything, provided that you are always armed." Our story card decides to take a nap since he has no work. 4 hours later, he wakes up and lo, Basu comes to me and says, "Sing it." In the car, he asks her what's wrong. She tells him that there has been a report about a monster that has exceeded the level of his cell. He says, "Will only we be enough for this mission?" She says, "Yes, we are more than enough, that only a werewolf of level 70 or 80 appeared in an earthquake of level 60. There are no casualties, and I do not expect any casualties." The hero of the story says to himself that the difference is only 10 levels. She tells him that this is what we receive the most reports from cells with level 50 or less. He asks her, "Is it because of the lack of safety officers?" She tells him, "Yes." After the players reach level 50, they advance to the first level. Security officers become the Korean Players Association, who go to low-level areas and become safety officers. Because of this, there are no safety officers in dungeons of level 50 and above. The problem is that players are spoiled and accustomed to being protected. When a problem occurs with no safety officers nearby, they will not be able to manage things and it may become a big problem. The hero of the story, "Why do I feel that you are enjoying this?" She answers by saying, "We get extra salaries the more cells we go to. Since we are working, think money is the thing we are after." They arrive at the site, and he says, "I have a bad feeling about this." She comes forward and says, "Don't be pessimistic." After that, she activates her skills. He looks at her and says, "A cat screams at him, and she is upset. If you don't speed up, your satellite behind me will go at its maximum speed." He will catch up with her and tell her, "You look like a hunting dog." She will tell him her sense of smell is better than that of dogs. She will eliminate a monster with great speed. He says the flexibility of this armor is very good. She tells him, of course, because it is very expensive. Let's go back. Suddenly, she turns on her skills and says it wasn't just one. Before that werewolf died, I think he summoned his brothers.